when you're on the right side of a conversation, you don't need to bullshit. You can be honest about the hard things when you're on the right side of the conversation. And predominantly, the left are on the right side of many, if not all, conversations. I won't say all, I won't be quite that arrogant. And that's why, say it with me, whānau, the left make policy and the right respond to policy. They respond to what the left's doing, like they're doing today, running around. Yeah, and if they weren't squealing quite so loud, I'd be more worried about what the Labour Party is suggesting, because it means they're pushing all those buttons. You know, they're pushing them all. All right, let us get to this story. Te Pāti Māori. Now, I might have missed this, but have made calls to either suspend Kapa-Kingi or have suspended Kapa-Kingi. We're in the process of figuring that right now. Let's have a look at the story. And then we've got some a message from Eru Kapa-Kingi through his social media as well, we'll get to.
Te Pāti Māori MP Toitu has called out his own party after a bombshell vote to suspend fellow MP Mariameno Kapa-Kingi. His electorate committee now wants an immediate vote of no confidence in the party president and national executive, which includes the co-leaders. Māori Affairs correspondent Tianiwa Hurihanganui has the latest.
Mariameno Kapa-Kingi standing united with protesters today.
Look, there's one thing that you have to say in this. And look, I think I live in a world of nuance most of the time. It's quite hard for me to say absolute black, absolute white. But these guys are either going to be right or they're going to be wrong. So the concerns being put out there by Toitu and Mariameno Kapa-Kingi are either going to be right or they're going to be wrong. It doesn't seem like they're setting it up here for much nuance. And I'll say it again, I don't think we can possibly know who is right and who is wrong yet. So it means that we have to be a little bit of a watcher from the sideline to see what happens. And we talked about this 2 weeks ago, I think, or a week ago. And obviously we're not talking it literal because Eru Kapa-Kingi, for example, is a young man, but it's like mum and dad are fighting. It's like your two best friends are in a fight. And it's like, what do we do? What do we do here, guys? What do we do? They're all fighting. Stop fighting. But we can't do much other than watch. Now, Chewie, because I can't see your face, you want me to hit play? Or do you want anything to say to that before we go?
No, play on.
Despite deepening divisions within her own party. Te Tai Tonga's Takuta Ferris making it clear where he stands.
Yeah, because with Takuta coming in as well, this is not just Kapa-Kingi, MP Kapa-Kingi, kind of from the sideline. There's more than one MP within Te Pāti Māori singing from the same sort of song sheet, which means they're either going to be right or they're going to be wrong. And both of those outcomes aren't good.
My understanding is he abstained from the vote to suspend.
I think they do say that in this. Should we keep going and see what they say?
Yeah. Yeah, sure thing.
Meno has held herself well. She has shown great restraint. She has restrained others from taking action at times.
But that's not the view of the party's National Council. At a meeting last week, moving a motion alleging Kapa-Kingi has seriously breached the party's constitution and voted to suspend her.
Well, to me, it holds no mana because the process that has been employed to arrive at the decision, it lacks integrity. It lacks any semblance of the kaupapa that a party is underpinned by.
Representatives from Te Tai Tonga abstained from the vote and are calling for an immediate vote of no confidence in party president John Tamihere, who declined to speak to One News, as well as the national executive, which includes co-leaders Rawiri Waititi and Debbie Ngarewa-Paka.
We aren't happy with the leadership. We aren't happy with the conduct. We think that it needs a full and open discussion, and that's being withheld, and so we don't agree with that.
Ko tāko e mana, para mai ki te hui ātau. Whakatakotoria wo kōrero. Me he mea koina huki te hihia te taitonga. He ara ka i roto i te kawa. O te Pāti Māori.
Meanwhile, in a letter obtained by One News, Te Tai Tokerau claim it wasn't even invited to the meeting.
I don't know why they wouldn't have been invited other than they were being talked and voted against.
Today, Mariameno's son, Eru Kapa-Kingi, announced on social media his family is taking legal action, saying the party executive is refusing to engage in tikanga or comply with its own constitution.
Kei te reset tunu tātou. Waiho mātou te Pāti Māori te whakatika i a mātou anō.
Mariameno Kapa-Kingi declined an interview but told One News last night that the party continues to prove the point of dysfunction. The MP marching on in the face of growing scrutiny. Te aniwa hurihanga nui, One News.
So there you go. Yeah, I mean, sheesh, Chewie. I mean, we can show some of Eru's comments shortly, but your first response to what you've heard, you've definitely got like 2 MPs in one camp, and you can't say all the MPs in the other because they'd all have to be, I guess, polled to see where they sit. But it's not just like it's more than just a random person on the outskirts who was caught in trouble. This is bigger than that, even though we can't understand exactly what it is yet.
Yeah, so I think every party has something like this eventually. And look, they've had a hell of a year. There's been a lot going on. I think Te Pāti Maori is an integral part of Parliament. They need to be there. But when this is happening, I think I saw it scroll past in the chat, someone says fighting or infighting kills momentum.
Yeah.
And I think that's my big concern here, is that we do have a couple of different camps in the movement at the moment, and it'd be great to just disinfect this whole thing and keep on mission. I make no bones about it. I have always thought that the weakest part of Pāti Māori is John Tamahere. So yeah, I do have some sympathy there when people are pointing at the president and going, well, maybe this is the problem. But then we've got Rawiri very clearly saying that that's not the issue and there's other issues at hand. We always want something like this to be transparent, to give confidence in the party. I don't think there's enough to go on here. Like, we've got someone being accused of almost financial mismanagement, and then we've got a family member of that person with a very powerful movement to the side of Te Pāti Māori that should be complementary to Te Pāti Māori. They should be pulling in the same direction. And at the moment, they're at loggerheads with each other. It's not good.
Yeah. Maybe we should have a look at Eru's commentary. I know he was on, I think, Instagram. It was a bit of a longer post, but I think he's done a synopsis of it on his Facebook page. So let's just go and have a look at what he had to say. This is Eru's post. I've really tried to stay on the high ground through all of this and not make it overly personal. Here I know these Māori Party dirty political games have truly crossed the line in now involving our babies. False information the party executive sent to social media channels has emboldened further attacks on our whānau. And there is now a video circulating of my nieces and nephews online wrongly stating they were illegally on their own whenua. So let me just unpack that slightly, because I was a bit like, what is it? I understand, because I thought, I should go have a look at Te Pāti Māori's social medias. Something that's been said on Te Pāti Māori's social media, the way Eru's saying it, has emboldened someone else, like some rando public person, to put this video of nieces and nephews and make some claim on it. So what he's claiming is that Te Pāti Māori, what they've said, have caused this other person to put something online about their children. That's how I read that. I think that's what it is. He goes on to say, Mokopuna decisions, you reckon? No. You can run me down all you like. Even my mum, do not bring our babies into this. He goes on to say the problem, I want to also clarify, the problem is not the whole of the Māori Party. The toxic decision making has been by the executive body, president and secretary, and the 2 leaders. Changes need to be pushed and directed at that level. When I looked at it this afternoon, there was maybe 40 comments, and I went and had a look through them. Most of them, obviously, complete support, but handful, maybe 1 in 5, 1 in 4, 1 in 3, not sure, saying this needs to be happening on the marae. This shouldn't be happening out in public like this. This should be happening behind closed doors. You know, what this is doing to the movement and what this is giving the opposition. Now, I'm not commenting on that. Whether maybe it has, maybe what we don't know is this has been going on for months behind the scenes, and this is where they're at. Don't know. But that's sort of the two sides. And it probably comes down to whatever happened, and I think it's around $130,000, the overspend by Kapa-Kingi. We don't know the details of that. That's not a rounding error, whether that's true or false or accurate or inaccurate or spun or however that looks. But yeah, I mean, like, this is one of these things, like I said, it's like your two mates are having a scrap and they don't want to be in the same room anymore. So how are you going to have your birthday party? Because my two best mates don't want to be in the same room. So either neither of them come, or I have to pick between them, you know, and that's sort of how it feels. And without all the information, I've sent a message to Eru. I don't know if I've got Eru's contacts anymore. We've had him on once before, but yeah, he hasn't responded. So either they're not responding, or I don't have his details anymore, because it would be great. And I just want to state publicly from my seat, Chewie, you can speak for himself. I'm fully behind the kaupapa of Toitu to Tiriti. But I'm also fully behind the kaupapa and the ideals of Te Pāti Māori. And that's why it feels, and before everyone jumps up and down about it, I've never voted for Te Pāti Māori, but you know, the idea of having them there and the idea of their representation, I am for. I am, yes, for. Like Chewie, I know people that have not wanted to get involved with Te Pāti Māori because of John Tamihere's involvement. I know a little bit about John. I sold him a house. I haven't found him to be anything other than a consummate businessman, like 100%. But I guess you're always in these kinds of situations, especially one where someone involved as a former talkback host, a former Labour Party minister, all these things, there's always going to be, and I don't mean haters, like we use the word haters like you're wrong, like, oh, you hater, but there's always going to be people who are rubbed up the wrong way. Again, I don't know whether he's the best person for the job or not. These are just things that are around. Chewie?
Yeah. Look, I've been reading a lot of comments around this when it pops up on social media, and I think the thing that was sort of hammered home for me is that there are a lot of opinions in the Māori space because it is their party, and I guess I'm putting more weight on the people that are saying, you know, as you said, this should be sorted out on a marae. We need to stick to our tikanga. We need to stick to our first principles and that sort of thing. And I'm concerned that I'm looking on it with, you know, standard sort of eyes that I look on every party, and it's not the same. They're not going to operate to the same rules as National or Labour or even the Greens and that sort of thing. They will do things in a Māori way, and maybe that is what we are seeing a little bit as well, is that we're seeing the clash of something trying to operate within parliamentary rules, trying to operate in the Māori space as well. Yeah, it's interesting, but there are certainly a lot of comments from Māori of going, whatever is going on, guys, can you sort it out quick? Because we want to get back to what we were doing. We want to get that momentum we had, like immediately post Hikoi going into treaty principles bill and that, because at that point, both organisations, Toitu and Te Pāti Māori, were operating, firing on all cylinders, and it was something to behold. So I hope everybody can sort of at some point grasp hold of what that felt like and get back to it. I don't know what the answer is here. I don't know what side to fall on, and all I'm coming back on is like, I've never really liked John Tamihere. I feel like he's a little bit too combustible, a little bit too unpredictable. But yeah, that's not to say one side is wrong and the other is right.
Yeah, we have no idea. Like, honestly, we have no idea. And the thing from sitting on the outside looking in, you've got MPs and Te Pāti Māori people on one side saying this, you've got MPs and Te Pāti Māori people on the side saying this. And sometimes you can make a call based on the evidence before you, but the evidence before us at the moment is, I'm not even sure what the evidence is, because all we're basically being told is that the processes aren't following the kaupapa. I mean, that's nothing that we're going to see in the newspaper anyway. Newspaper. We're being told that the leadership style is toxic. Again, we don't see that. What we see is if this policy had have been promised and not done. We can measure that. You can't quite measure the original kaupapa versus the kaupapa of Te Pāti Māori today and how it's being implemented. We don't know that. It's only the inner workings that know that, and that's probably why it feels a bit like, what's happening, sort of thing. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, and it sort of reminds me, you remember when Green Party was having its leadership stuff?
Yep.
And the media was just jumping onto it and going, oh, there's ructions in the fucking Green Party, it's all falling apart. And the Greens were just going the whole time of going, no, we're just following our processes. The membership wanted a vote on the leaders, so we did a vote on the leaders, and now we have an answer. The media is always going to jump on blood on the water. And I guess that's what I'm trying very hard not to do.
Yeah.
Is I just want to listen, well, we're talking about a Māori party and a Māori movement and the personalities within those two groups. You know what? I'm going to listen to Māori in this space.
Yeah, but that's the problem, isn't it? You got Māori here and Māori here.
Yeah.
So
yeah, if someone could just tell me what to think, that'd be real good.